I wanted to quickly run through the milling process and what that even means to mill up lumber. So traditionally, when you buy wood from a lumber mill, it comes to you in rough cut form. And all that really means is that the surfaces are not parallel, they're not flat, and the edges are not 90 degrees to the surface. So to establish that, we need three tools in a power woodworking shop at least. You need a joiner, a planer, and a table saw. The first tool that you use in this process is the jointer, and you're going to face joint your board. So really all that means is that you take one of the faces and you run it across the bed of the joiner and establish a straight and true side to your rough cut lumber. Once you have that side, you take that and you use that as a reference to your other face. So the knives on a joiner are on the bottom. You run the board through the bed, the knives are down here, and they're making a straight and flat piece on this side. Once you have that, you take it to the planer and you set the flat side against the bed of your planer, and the knives are on top. So you're taking this, you're running it through, and the knives are basically cutting a mirror image of whatever's on the bottom. So most people think that a planer, the only reason you run a board through a planer is to make it the thickness that you want. Now that's a 100% accurate statement, but more importantly, what the planer is doing is creating two faces that are parallel to each other. It should also be talked about that if you run something through a planer that has dips or curves in it, basically not flat, whatever you have on the bottom, that planer is going to make on top. So the planer cannot make flat lumber. All it can do is reference whatever side you send through there. So if this side's flat and straight, this side's going to be flat and straight. If this side is not flat straight, if it's curved or bowed or however, this side is going to be a mirror image of this side. Now, it might be the same thickness across there, but they're not going to be parallel to each other and they're not going to be flat. That's the most important part of the planer. Now that you have two flat surfaces, two faces here, you have to deal with the two edges of your board here. You go back to the joiner, and now that we have our flat side here, we reference that against the joiner where the knives could be down here. So we've got a flat surface here, knives down here, and as we run this through the joiner, this side now becomes 90 degrees to this side. Being that both of our faces are parallel to each other, if this side is 90 degrees to this side, it automatically means that it's also 90 degrees to this side. So at this point, we've got a board that is flat, parallel, and it has one edge that is 90 degrees to the other two surfaces. The last tool we use is the table saw, and we run the freshly cut straight and 90-degree edge on the table saw. We use that as the reference on our rip fence to create a parallel image on the other side. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. I know it was kind of a down and dirty look at what milling actually is, but all you're doing is taking rough lumber and you're making a board that is now straight, flat, all the surfaces are parallel to each other and 90 degrees to each other.